Hello and welcome back to ABUS 160. After a little bit of a hiatus with spring break, hope you're ready to jump into Chapter 9. So here we go. Welcome back, everybody. Spring break is over, but Chapter 9 has just begun. So let's kind of jump right in. Business banking services. So business banking services are the services that banks offer to companies and businesses that will help them manage their businesses more efficiently. And these are some of the more profitable fee income services that banks have. And for a lot of consumers don't like paying fees, and businesses don't like paying fees either, but they have a little bit less of a opportunity to not do that. So like anything else, they are going to have to pay for some of the more sophisticated services that they need to utilize. The first among these is cash management. Now, banks offer cash management to consumer customers and business customers, but really all this does is help businesses collect payments quickly, process and reconcile outgoing expenses or funds that they're sending, and then keep surplus funds either invested in savings accounts, money markets, or other products. After that is account management, where some banks will offer services that will essentially help a company do their bookkeeping, manage accounts receivable, manage their payments and their systems, payroll, that sort of thing. At Wells Fargo, when I worked there, we offered payroll services that would help a small business do some of the payroll stuff that might be expensive or difficult for them to do otherwise, and we had a sophisticated website and other ways to help them do that. Next on the list is cash vault services. And cash vault services are pretty much do exactly what they sound like. A lot of banks will provide an actual safe or vault to a customer, and they will quickly and efficiently deliver deposit bags, deliver cash, pick up cash, and that sort of thing to help that process work efficiently for a business that needs cash. Account reconciliation does a lot of the same stuff again, managing the account, but this time providing detailed analytical reports and come up with other ways to more efficiently manage their services. Positive Pay we've talked about in previous chapters. This is the fraud protection, anti-fraud tool, where the business lists the payees on checks and then the bank verifies them. Lockbox services are ways for some companies, especially doctors' offices, to get their incoming receivables coming in before they go to the bank, essentially, before they go to the doctor's office. The bank processes the payments, puts them in their account, and that's it. The doctor never has to deal with them. They just go straight to the lockbox. Remote deposit capture we've talked about before. This is where a business customer can deposit checks into their account from their office. They do not need to come into the bank. And direct deposit can be helpful when businesses are depositing their employees' pay. Now here's some more services that are out there. Controlled disbursement. This one provides same-day notification on the dollar amounts of checks that are going to clear against the company's account, giving the company a chance to control how much money is in there and to avoid overdrafts. Cash concentration accounts. Businesses collect balances from various deposit accounts and puts them all into one. They can initiate ACH debits to do this, and these kinds of accounts allow businesses to take advantage of overnight investment opportunities, and these are going to be big businesses, much bigger than most of the ones that I deal with on a day-to-day basis. Zero balance account is a similar one. This one is every night. It's linked to a cash concentration account. Every night, the account for the cash that's needed is funded, and then everything else goes down to zero, so that as the checks clear, the account goes down to zero. All the company's excess funds go into investments and overnight investments. Depository transfers. These are a service that facilitates the cash concentration and prints out checks that banks can actually use to transfer funds between corporate accounts at various banks and make it easier. And sweep accounts. Sweep accounts are accounts where a business can transfer excess funds from the customer's accounts every night in order to aggregate those funds in another account or a cash concentration account. Wire transfers, we already kind of know what those are, and merchant card services are all types of accounts that and services that businesses will use. Merchant card services are exactly what they sound like. The companies will collect payments from customers on credit cards, or merchant cards as they're known. The bank will process those payments and deposit the funds in the corporate accounts of the businesses. Okay, and then we have some other services that businesses can use. Business financing, essentially a fancy way of talking about loans. Banks are the number one providers of working capital loans and business loans. Insurance. Many banks either have partner companies, affiliates, or even provide insurance themselves through subsidiaries. So it is a typical way to get insurance from a business is to get it through a bank. What else? Health insurance. Banks can sometimes help companies access health insurance coverage or health savings accounts. There's other insurance products out there. Key person insurance. These are insurance policies on the key people in certain companies. And the directors and officers liability insurance. This protects the key employees, the directors, senior managers, or board of directors from liability. And almost every large corporation has directors and officer liability insurance. Just something that's good to have. Even more services that are out there. Capital markets. Capital markets are services that many banks will offer through an affiliated broker-dealer to help companies with their corporate investments and the way that they structure their assets to maximize profitability and minimize risk. That's where kind of investment banking comes in. It's the same sort of things. These are investments that can be made. Merchant banking. Merchant banking is pretty much a type of investment banking as well. These types of banking relationships are really there to facilitate a company raising capital in the form of either bonds, which are debts, or stocks, which are equity shares in the company themselves. Business trust services are something that used to be offered by trust companies. After the Federal Reserve Act of 1913, national banks were allowed to do this too. But many, if you see some of the old banks in other parts of the country, you will see it will be called Summit Bank and Trust Company or something to that effect. And the trusts basically do safekeeping and administration of company assets. This fiduciary role can be carried out by banks, and the two main lines of their business are corporate agency services and employee benefit services. And so the corporate agency services, basically what it does is that the bank itself can provide an agent, registrar, and transfer agent to a large corporation or government agencies, and this allows the bank's trustee, the trustee that works for the bank, to act on behalf of the company as their fiduciary or agent in order to better manage their corporate assets and as a third party. Employee benefit services are generally welfare programs or retirement programs that employees take advantage of at their workplace. The two main types of retirement plans are defined benefit plans and the defined contribution plans. And defined benefit plan is a pension. You're told during your employment that you are going to receive a pension. You know how much it's going to be, and you know what to look forward to. Defined contribution plans are a little different, where actually the part that you know about is the part that goes into the pool that you'll receive in your retirement. These types of plans, one of them is a money purchase plan, where the employer makes a contribution on behalf of each employee and controls how much money is put into the pot. Profit sharing is a little different. This is where employees get a portion of the company's net profits. A 401k plan is probably the most common. It's a sort of salary reduction plan, where you are actually taking money out of your salary and socking it away for later in a protected retirement plan. Many of you may have this right now. 403b is a plan that's designed primarily for educators, healthcare workers, and employees of religious institutions and nonprofit organizations. This is kind of called a tax-sheltered annuity. It's a little bit unusual. There's not a lot of companies that are doing this, so we won't spend a lot of time on it, but it is out there. And the ESOP, the Employee Stock Ownership Plan. This is, a lot of times it's a supplemental retirement plan. This allows the employees as a block to buy stock in the company and supplement their income. And a lot of corporations they may use a mix of these: money purchase, profit sharing, 401k, ESOP, all mixed in together, that will maximize an employee's retirement potential. International banking. International banking is an interesting category, and banks need to establish international departments and overseas branches to try to do this, and to try to get different rules and regulations in all the different companies. There's a few things that they can do. An Edge Corporation allows certain banks to send and receive monies and do foreign trade related banking. Most of these are located in New York City, which is sort of the financial capital of the world. Foreign branches, shell branches, international banking facility are all sort of offices that exist in other countries. There's a foreign representative office. The foreign representative office is a U.S. bank office, but usually located in another country's capital. Doesn't provide a lot of services, but exists to help facilitate business in those countries. Foreign subsidiary would be a subsidiary company owned by a foreign bank, and a foreign joint venture is another type of a company where the U.S. bank would share ownership and manage part of the interest in foreign banks. And one of the biggest reasons to use foreign banks, or to get into the foreign banking or international banking business, is for international payments. As trade happens across borders, we need to facilitate payments going back and forth. So these are some of the types of international payments that are out there: foreign drafts, bankers' acceptance, letters of credit, international electronic funds transfers, and forex services, a foreign exchange of currencies, facilitate the flow of money around the world, across borders. And last and not least, of course, are our laws and regulations for international banking. Some of these to become familiar with are Regulation 9, the Gramm-Leach-Bliley Act, the Uniform Commercial Code Article 5, and the Federal Reserve Regulation K, which regulates the international operations across foreign transactions and banking, manages lending limits and things like that. So that's the basics of Chapter 9. I hope you enjoyed the trip, and we will continue to manage some of this. Everyone's been doing quite well, and just keep up the good work. Semester is almost over, and thanks again for your attention, and let me know if you have any questions.